Firing employees at your company needs to really start on day one, their very first day working for you. And because you can never predict who is going to need to be let go down the line, you're just going to have to prep to do it for everyone. The Business of Apparel podcast is your one-stop shop to learn how to launch, grow, and scale your apparel brand. I'm your host, Rachel Erickson. Now let's jump in. Welcome back to the Business of Apparel podcast, where today I want to walk you through the best possible practices that you can put in place with your employees so that you are managing them the best that you possibly can, and you are preparing to let them go if that day ever comes. So what does this look like? Looks like great communication on your part as the leader and CEO of your company. So on day one, when someone comes to your company to work for you, the very first thing that you want to be doing for them is painting a clear picture of how they're going to conduct their work. How do you expect them to behave in tough situations? How do you expect them to react when they're having a hard day? How do you expect them to hit their goals? So being a good manager while walking step by step alongside yourself, really, in preparing yourself for firing people if that day ever comes, really ends up looking like the same thing. So the first thing that you want to do is set up key performance indicators or KPIs, or essentially these are just goals for these people. When people come to work for you, you want them to have tangible things that they can be reaching for in their day-to-day work. So not only how are they working for you, do their values align with you and your company? How do they react to certain people? What is the look on their face if they're dealing with a tough client or they're dealing with a tough manager? Those types of expectations need to be set. But you also want them every single quarter and every single year to have a set of goals so that you can track whether or not they're staying on task and helping to drive performance for your company. Now, every single role is going to have different goals, right? As a product developer, my goals might be to stay on time with prototyping and tech packs for the entire season that's coming up. As a salesperson, my goals might be very ROI driven, right? Like how many dollars am I expected to bring into the company to be hitting my financial goals? Whatever those KPIs and goals end up being, you want them to be very simple. You want them to be very trackable. And best practices here are to say, okay, then what happens? If your goal is to make 10 new sales in this quarter and you hit that 10 mark goal, what happens next? The next quarter, is your goal to stay the same? Will your goal be to grow? If you hit 10 new sales in the next quarter, does that take your company to a totally new place so that that person should actually get a raise and a promotion? Do they get a bonus? Is there some sort of incentive for them to actually be hitting those target goals? Setting up goals and expectations like that can be really, really crucial in getting people to essentially march to the orders that you need them to march to so that your company can be growing and scaling in the way that you envision. So that's one piece of the puzzle. What this also does for you, though, is it sets you up for being able to evaluate them on a quarterly timeline so that every single employee that you has, number one, knows that that's when reviews happen. We're going to review your performance. We're going to review everybody's performance around the same time every single quarter. If you only want to do it every 6 months, that is your standard. Set up that standard. If you only want to do it every year, that one's really rough for me. I really think you should be giving pointed, direct, let's sit down and have a meeting and formally discuss your goals. I think you should be doing that more than just once a year. But at the end of the day, you are the CEO, you do you, right? And if you think you can only do that one time a year, set that up. Just make sure that there is a way to be tracking everything throughout the year. And I'll just mention this too. I think the reason I don't love annual reviews only is because so much can change in a year. I don't know, throughout my corporate career, there were so many times where I would set up annual goals and then my manager would only review them with me every single year. But 6 months ago, the team completely changed, or someone got fired, or we hired 3 new people, or all of our projects got dropped and everything that we're doing now is completely different from where it was a year ago. So that's why I really like to have reviews at least every 6 months. And I love a quarterly goal review. I just think that that can be really essential for each of your employees. You've put in the hours, you've mastered the fundamentals, and your brand is no longer a passion project. But somewhere along the way, the hustle that got you here started to feel like a trap. You're building a business, not just making clothes, and you're starting to wonder if you'll ever crack the code to consistent, profitable growth. What if I told you that industry's top brands aren't just working harder, they're working smarter, with a clear blueprint for everything from line planning to streamlining their supply chain? This is the insider knowledge that's typically kept behind closed doors, but now it's accessible to you. Introducing The Board, an annual membership designed to give you that strategic advantage. Led by a team with over 70 years of combined experience, we provide the honest, real talk mentorship you need to move from busy to truly successful. We'll show you how to focus on the small, consistent actions that lead to massive progress, helping you build a legacy without the burnout. It's time to stop second-guessing yourself and start building with purpose. Don't pay attention to the chaos. Pay attention to what actually matters. Join the board and unlock the proven systems that will transform your brand. Go to thebusinessofapparel.com to find the option that's right for you. I can't wait to see you in there. Now, what happens in this quarterly review is you kind of go through what were the goals, were they met, how did things go in the way of like values and reactions and ways of working too, right? Because that is also important. We're going to talk about that every single quarter. Now, if you didn't meet your goals, what does that look like? Just the way that it looks like, when you do meet your goals. Is there an amp up? Is there a reward? What happens when you don't meet your goals? Well, how far off from your goals were you? Were you so far off your goals and your attitude was terrible and you didn't even try, and the goals that I gave you, you thought were stupid, and you didn't tell me that, but you just kind of went off and pretended like they didn't exist? I had an employee once like that who I gave really pointed goals to. We had really good KPIs written down for her, and she just thought it was so stupid that I had given her goals and went away and didn't do any of it. And so what happens next when that continues to happen is that usually, and this is what I did, we like to put that employee on a performance improvement plan. And those in the corporate world are called PIPs. So if you've never heard of a PIP, that's what it stands for, Performance Improvement Plan. Now, one bad quarter might mean that an employee, either had too much on their plate, or you overstretched them, or you set up goals that were actually unrealistic. Talking through that with them at the end of that quarter, starting to understand why those goals weren't met. You're not going to put everyone on a performance improvement plan just because they didn't meet your lofty goals. You have to set up something realistic. And sometimes, as the CEO of our company, we want people to reach for the stars, right? We want them to do the biggest and best job that they possibly can do for us. But sometimes it's okay if they just reach the moon. So if they didn't reach their goals, but it was still good, it was still progress, there was still effort, there's no punishment that's really needed there. There's just a realignment of what's realistic, and there may be a realignment needed on what the goals need to be for the next quarter, right? This is why I love to do quarterly reviews, because there's so much visibility as to what can happen, what can't happen, and what needs to change as we go. Now, again, if you end up with that employee who after maybe 2 or 3 quarters is really just not doing a great job, I would say you probably need to start having that conversation with them about what it looks like to put a performance improvement plan on paper. So again, these goals and these performance improvement plans need to be extremely clear, especially a PIP. If you are writing a PIP, this needs to be like, by 30 days, you need to have done XYZ. And XYZ has to be so exponentially clear to both you and them. And you need to make sure that it is clear to them that they need to perform at this level, or they need to reach these milestones, or they need to achieve these goals for that performance improvement plan to have shown actual improvement in performance, right? That's the whole goal. If you meet with them, so that's the other part of a performance improvement plan. You map out exactly what you need to see from them very, very clearly. And then you also map out a check-in timeline. Now, a performance improvement plan probably needs to be check-in minimally every month. You need to check in with that employee every single month to ask them how things are going. Are they achieving? Are they getting close to achieving? Are they hitting those milestones? What's happening? If you are getting into those check-in meetings and they still think this is ridiculous, they still don't make an effort, they're still giving you attitude, they still have, a bad way of working, they're bringing the team down. One thing that you will notice with a bad egg on your team is that the other team members won't want to work with them really, especially if you've hired a bunch of other good people who are great on your team, align with your values, and do a good job. A players on your team do not want to put up with a dud. They do not want to put up with covering someone else's work, filling in for them. They are already trying to perform at their highest level in their role. So keeping someone on the team who can't pull their weight alongside other A players is one of the fastest ways to lose your A players. They don't want to put up with it. They'll see you catering to someone who's not doing a great job and think, well, why am I busting my ass for this company that doesn't punish someone who's not doing their job right? Why am I covering for this person when they're not actually being punished for not doing their work? Those are the kinds of things that go through A players' heads. And this is how you start to see, I saw something just this morning. It was not burnout, it was called rust out. And so this is a new term that I think we're going to start to see in business jargon. And people are talking about teams rusting out, just being completely disengaged. They don't want to do the work. They're not inspired. They're not motivated. They're kind of going through the motions, but they don't really care. And that's how, in my experience, this is the number way of how rust out happens. Your team will become unmotivated if they don't see other team members around them also being A players and being rewarded for it. So if you have that employee, they're on their PIP, they're bringing the team down a little bit, they are not doing the job, they're not doing great things, they're having attitude, everybody's kind of pissed at them, nobody really wants to work with them. You are probably spending a lot of your time managing and mentoring this person. You're having all of these extra meetings, trying to check in with them on their goals, trying to check in with them on their attitude. If you get to that point and they are not actually improving their performance based on the PIP that you've put together with them, it's time to let them go. And because you never know who that's going to be, setting up those goals, setting up those quarterly reviews, knowing how to write a performance improvement plan, and knowing how to check in on your employees on a regular basis, and also how to notice when those things are starting to happen. If you have a bunch of amazing people on your team and all of a sudden they're starting to be really disengaged, they're not quite doing the level of work that they used to do, they don't feel like they're the same people that they were when you first hired them. If you're starting to notice that, there is something happening in the back end of your company that you need to start digging into. And talking to some of your best A players is the best way. Being honest with them, practicing a little radical candor, like let's just say it. Let's say what's going on. If you tell me that there's an employee who is bringing everybody else down, and maybe I just haven't seen it because I've been in the weeds doing all my other CEO things, ask them what you would prefer that they do. These are your people that you want to keep. These are your people that you want to keep happy, your A players. And if it means you have to let go of a couple people who are bringing them down and totally killing your morale at your company, then you have to put on your big girl pants as a CEO and you got to do it. And it sucks and firing is hard. But if you want to learn how to do it with kindness and empathy and just make it as simple and painless as possible for you and for the employee that you need to let go, I want you to come join me inside the Apparel Founders Board. We are talking about hiring, firing, managing, mentoring, community. We're talking about profits. We're talking about you name it. If you need an answer about your apparel brand today on any topic, we are answering that question for you. My entire team and I have worked inside this industry for anywhere from 15 to 25 years, and we have got your back. We truly care about your success and your growth. And so if you want to learn more details about all of these types of things, including how to fire somebody gracefully, this is the type of stuff that we are building content around. This is the type of stuff that we are discussing in our weekly office hour sessions. And we cordially invite you to come join us. You can go to thebusinessofapparel.com/join anytime. Check out the option that's right for you. Please come be a new member of our group. We would love to have you in there. If you liked this episode and this helped you a little bit, please share it with somebody else who you think could benefit from it. And if you have a moment, we would love if you would leave us a review. Thanks so much for being here with me this week. I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Business of Apparel podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, consider leaving the show a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you know someone who could benefit from listening to the show, please share it with them. My biggest desire is to help other apparel professionals understand the nuances of our industry so we can all work towards simplifying our brands while becoming more profitable. If you would like to connect further, I'd love to invite you to send me a message through my website, thebusinessofapparel.com/contact, where you can also sign up for our free weekly newsletter and become an insider in our community to help you start and scale a profitable apparel brand.